What's up, everybody? I'm Leo Reyes Rayon,
I'm Josh Glazer.
and today we're in Pittsburgh with Mike Tomlin. Yeah, so, man, where do we begin?
Well, usually we begin with you got two picks in the top 100, which kind of complicates things after trading for
For
Minka,
Minka.
yeah,
Yeah.
which was a good trade. I mean, he's definitely a first round talent.
And he's
Uh,
still young, very young, you know.
yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Big Ben. What are your thoughts on him coming back and kind of the direction of the team?
Man, it's such a strange thing because you know how much of a warrior he is. You know he's gonna want to play, but at the same time he's like 37, 38 almost. You know, and I mean he just had Tommy John surgery and he literally hurt his arm just by throwing the ball. You know what I mean? Like, I mean
Yeah,
that's pretty tough. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, but yeah. So he's old. I mean, I feel like they're still in win now mode. I don't feel that they're gonna take a quarterback early in the draft. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think that they definitely should start looking for the next guy or like thinking about it. You know what I mean? So
yeah. He said in a interview on the radio that he was asked what he thought of the fact that they might draft a quarterback, and he said, "That's their prerogative." It's kind of the most political bullshit answer you can have. But I mean, what do you expect them to do?
yeah, right.
Yeah, but I think at this point they're kind of in win now mode because they
Yeah,
only have
right.
this small window to take advantage. They have a great defense with a couple
hmm
of holes, but not a ton, and then an offense that is very clear, precise holes that they need to target.
hmm
And the only issues that they have, they're gonna have to do really well with some lower level picks because they just don't have enough picks for the needs that they have at this point in the top 100 with
Yeah,
only
right. They only have one pick in the first three rounds, I think.
yeah
Yeah.
49 and 102. So yeah, where I kind of see their biggest needs are at wide receiver, at tackle slash guard,
hmm
mostly guard, nose tackle, and cornerback.
hmm
Starting with receiver, they just need someone else that can beat press. That's what their biggest issue was. Teams were getting up and just roughing up their receivers last year.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
a big physical guy that can beat press and get open and be another option next to Juju.
hmm
Some of those dudes would be a Michael Pittman, a Brian Edwards, or a Van Jefferson. Both Edwards and Jefferson would be later in the draft. Pittman would be probably if you'd have to go with 49 if you wanted to get him, and
Yeah.
who knows if he's even there at that point.
hmm
The next position on offense, probably guard. They replacing Ramon Foster, who retired,
Yeah, yeah.
and the thing with him is they had that same unit together for so long. I mean, they changed right tackle a little bit, but for the most part, they're just solid, solid, solid. The only issue is they're all getting older, kind of at the same time.
hmm
So it kind of increases the need to put more young developmental picks into there to make sure that they have guys that can come in when one by one these guys start to retire.
Yeah,
Uh,
right. hmm
so I think they might target. There's two ways they can go. Either they go someone just guard and just wait and just kind of figure out as the guys retire, or they go for a tackle slash guard, someone that has played both, is kind of flexible. So I kind of have them going tackle guard combination. A guy like Robert Hunt would be interesting. We spoke about him previously from Louisiana.
hmm
Also, Sadiq Charles. Um, is the other guy that would be great out of LSU. He's played tackle mostly at left tackle, but he's projected more towards the guard position in the pros due to his height. But he's got great movement skills, very strong hands. And then there's Isaiah Wilson from Georgia, who's a big guy, probably easily move inside. But if they went more raw, they would go for a guy like Prince Tega, want to go so or God, I messed that up. But anyway, um, there, there's enough people out there in the mid rounds that they can figure out their offensive line. They just have one position to plug. Then next year they have a couple guys that are going to be free agents, but I think they'll with kind of the other issues they have on this team that they'll look at that later or they'll draft really young guys or go undrafted and kind of try to find a diamond in the rough.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of where I see it offensively. When you get to the defensive side of the ball, the biggest need is the loss of Javon Hargrave, who was the hell of a nose tackle for them. He was able to run a lot of interesting stunts and a lot of interesting run twists and a lot of weird stuff due to his movement skills. They're not going to be able to find anybody at 49 or 1 and 2 that can do that. So I think what they'll probably end up doing is going after guys that are more projectable in terms of just focusing on run and just getting as much of that as possible as they can, because you're not going to replace all that Hargrave did. So a guy like Devon Hamilton from Ohio State, or a guy even like McTelvin Ajim from Arkansas, who was started as a defensive end there at Arkansas and kind of moved inside. So he kind of gives them more flexibility. I think they kind of like that with their down linemen. They kind of guys that can move around a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I see it nose tackle. The other position is kind of looking forward, but also building depth. And that would be looking at the cornerback 2 position where Steven Nelson now starts. But I see them looking more towards the future and replacing him kind of ahead of the game, getting a bigger physical guy like Noah Igbenogana, I think that's how you say it, from Auburn, who's big physical, has track in his background. Or maybe they go guy Troy Pride or a Stanford Samuel from Florida State later in the draft. A lot of these picks are going to have to be found later in the draft, and they've done a good job finding DBs later for the most part and just kind of piecing together the secondary. So I'm not too worried with Mike Tomlin. That's kind of his specialty. That's kind of where I have them going. They were 8-8 last year. They were 3rd in offense and then 2nd in defense behind the Ravens. That defense is a hell of a unit. I don't see them regressing too much because there's not too much in terms of older players that would regress. It'll be interesting to see if they can reproduce that. What do you have them going record-wise?
I mean, I don't know, man. I'm gonna say like 800. I mean, I said 800, 500, 8-8 at least, because they have the kind of team that, I mean, they could get hot and like, their defense can play. Like, I mean, when T.J. Watt gets after it, bro, like he can kind of take over a game. So, and then I mean, it's not like they're not talented offensively. You know what I mean? So they could win games. But they got to play. They have to play a lot of talent also. You know what I mean? Well, I mean, you have the Ravens, and I mean, who knows what the hell the Browns? I hate that I'm saying the Browns, but you know what I mean?
I think the division overall, like I said previously on another team, is going to be better. So I think there'll be higher level competition, but there's a huge jump that you get if they reproduce everything else and kind of play the same, and then they add Big Ben in. I think they're easily above 500. They're 10. I'm going more conservative, saying 10-6, just because you don't know what you're getting with Big Ben, and just don't know what's going to happen when he comes back, how well he's going to do, and whatever. He's sent out some of these videos where he looks like kind of a caveman.
I mean, but that's kind of normal for him.
I know. He always kind of runs a little. I don't know if sloppy is the right word, but a lot of beard and just a lot of Big Ben. He's a big guy, so
I mean, another thing too, man, that I was kind of thinking about too was, I mean, thinking about the running back position for them, because I mean, with James Conner consistently, or I mean, he's a good player, but he's always in and out of the lineup because of injuries. You know what I mean? And it'll be interesting to see if they even try to address that in the draft, which I think that they probably won't, but you never know.
One thing I've heard about that with the running back position, and I don't know if this is anything substantial with it, but I've heard Leonard Fournette kind of linked to them. Maybe it's a compliment to Connor, and I think that would be pretty amazing.
That would.
Great for him. That'd be a hell of a 1-2 punch. You wouldn't want to tackle those guys, especially with that offensive line. But it's kind of a name to chew on for Steelers fans. See how y'all like it. That's kind of where we are. Any other closing comments, Leo?
Man, pretty much nailed it, man. Yeah.
Cool.
All right, y'all. I'm Leo Reyes Rayon.
I'm Josh Glazer.
And we're out. We're on to the Browns, Cleveland.
This is the Raised and Glazed podcast. Y'all like, subscribe, comment, just whatever you do. Stay safe.
Stay safe. Yep. All right, y'all. Peace.
See y'all later.